All right, let's get into it. For the last couple years, Perplexity has been one of those AI companies everyone's been watching. And then, they kind of went quiet. While everybody else was talking about the race to build AI agents, it turns out Perplexity was busy, heads down, building something that might just change this whole game.
Just think for a second about how you actually use AI today, right? Are you the one constantly breaking down big tasks into little baby steps, feeding it one prompt after another, and then having to stitch all the results together yourself? It's amazing, but let's be real, you're still doing a whole lot of the work.
That's the loop, isn't it? The AI is this incredibly smart intern, but you are absolutely the project manager. It's just this constant cycle. You prompt, you copy the answer, you paste it somewhere else, and you do it all over again for anything remotely complex.
But imagine if we could just flip that entire dynamic on its head. What if, instead of managing the whole tedious process, you could just, describe the final thing you want, walk away, and then come back when the work is actually done?
This really gets to the heart of what you could call the chatbot bottleneck. The AI models themselves, they're getting unbelievably powerful, but the way we interact with them through these simple chat windows has become the thing that's holding them back.
And this, right here, perfectly illustrates that shift. You got the old way, where you are the project manager, juggling all the pieces, doing all that stressful orchestration, and then you have the new way, the promise of Perplexity Computer, which turns you into the client. You just give the brief, and an entire team of AIs just gets to work.
Okay, to really get what Perplexity built here, we have to talk about where the word computer actually came from. I'm telling you, the name they chose is absolutely genius, and it has nothing to do with a box on your desk.
So Perplexity shared this amazing little story. Way back in the 1700s, this mathematician had a huge problem. He needed to predict when Halley's Comet would return. The math was just way too much for one person to handle, so he hired a couple of apprentices to help him out.
And here is the kicker. The job title for those apprentices? It was computer. A computer wasn't a thing. It was a person. It was a human being whose entire job was to help compute, to be part of a team that could break down a massive problem and solve it.
And that is precisely what Perplexity Computer is. It's taking us back to that original meaning. It's an AI system that acts like a digital worker, taking your goal and automatically splitting up the work among a whole team of specialized AIs. See? It's not just some clever branding. It's a whole new way to think about what AI can be.
So how in the world does this actually work? Well, the core idea is pretty simple. No single AI model, no matter how good, is the best at everything. The real magic, the real power, comes from orchestration.
Right out of the gate, Perplexity Computer can coordinate work across nearly 20 different AI models all at once. It dynamically picks the absolute best one for each little subtask. It's like having an entire orchestra of AI specialists ready to play.
Think of it like this. You have a powerful reasoning model. That's your conductor. It takes your big goal and writes the sheet music for the whole project. Then it delegates. It calls on another model for the deep, heavy research. It uses another for lightning-fast lookups. It taps a different one for its huge memory. And hey, if you need a picture or a video, it calls in the media specialists. It's all about using the right tool for the right job, and it all happens automatically.
Okay, so that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's walk through a real example to see how this thing goes from just a simple idea to a fully finished project.
So, a user gives it a goal. Find sponsors for my podcast. The system immediately gets to work. First, it figures out who's sponsoring similar shows, companies like Shopify and Ramp. But then it does something really clever. It actually reasons that just emailing the CEO is probably a bad idea. So instead, it finds the right people to talk to, like the head of partnerships. Then it drafts these incredibly personalized emails, pulling in tiny little details it found, like a recent post the founder made on social media. And it doesn't even stop there. It proactively suggests, hey, maybe we should also monitor these other podcasts and set up automatic follow-ups. That's not an assistant, my friends. That's a strategist.
And just look at the kind of email it writes. This is a real example it generated to the founder of Shopify. It references a super specific, kind of nerdy project he had just posted about. The MRI thing you did with Claude was wild. I mean, come on. That is a level of personalization that would take a human hours to research and write. It's just incredible.
Now, of course, this kind of power is amazing, but it doesn't come for free, and there are some really important things to think about. So let's talk about the price, how it stacks up against the competition, and some potential risks you definitely need to know about.
First up, the price tag.
To get access to Perplexity Computer, you've got to be on their Max plan, and that's running at $200 a month. Now that's a serious investment, so you really need to have a clear business case where this thing is going to save you enough time or make you enough money to be worth it.
It's also really useful to compare it to the big open source player in this space, OpenClaw. Now, OpenClaw is totally free and it runs on your own computer, which gives you all the control, but you have to be pretty technical to set it up. Plus, and this is a big one, it has access to your entire computer, which can be a security nightmare. Perplexity Computer, on the other hand, is super easy to use in your browser, and it all runs securely in their cloud. I saw one person describe it perfectly as OpenClaw for everyone else.
And finally, let's be real about the potential pitfalls here. Yeah, the cost is a big one. And the quality of what you get out is completely dependent on the quality of the brief you give it. Garbage in, garbage out. You have to treat it like a smart contractor, and it can almost be too autonomous. In one of the tests, it actually sent out those sales emails without waiting for a final go-ahead. So here's the most important takeaway. You have to keep a human in the loop for approvals. And just remember, this stuff is brand new. There are going to be bugs.
So, if we zoom all the way out, what does this all really mean? Perplexity Computer isn't just another app. This feels like a fundamental shift in how we're going to work with computers. We're moving from manually using tools to just briefing autonomous workers.
This quote from Perplexity's CEO, Aravind Srinivas, just nails it. He said, "The bottleneck isn't AI capability anymore. The bottleneck is orchestration." And he's so right. The models are already powerful enough. The real challenge, the billion-dollar opportunity, is building that system that can intelligently manage all that power to achieve a human's goal.
We're really standing at a fork in the road for software. You have the old path, the one with buttons and menus and clicks, designed for humans to use. And then there's this new agentic path, where you just state your goal and the system figures out the rest. This feels like one of the first biggest steps into that new world, a world where the AI is the interface.
Think about it. The solo creator who can suddenly put out 10 times more work. The small business that now has the same research power as a giant corporation. That wall that has always existed, the sheer amount of time and effort it takes to turn an idea into reality, that wall is getting lower and lower. And that leaves us all with one big fascinating question. When your AI can do the work for you, what will you choose to build?